Disney's Scary Storybook Collection. The Adventures of Icabod and Mr. Toad, the Headless Horseman. Ichabod Crane was a schoolmaster who lived in Sleepy Hollow. He was tall and lanky and looked like a scarecrow. Ichabod read books all day. He read all kinds of stories except scary ones. Ichabod didn't like the spooky tales because he believed that ghosts and goblins were real. One Halloween night, Ichabod went to a party. There was music and dancing. Then Old Man Van Tassel asked if any of his guests would tell a ghost story. "I know one," Brombones said. He was famous in Sleepy Hollow for his creepy stories. "But it may be too frightening for some people." Ichabod gulped. He did not like to hear scary stories at all. But Old Man Van Tassel insisted that Brom tell his tale. "After all, it's Halloween," Old Man Van Tassel said. So Brom cleared his throat and began his story. His story was about a headless horseman who rode out into the hollow every Halloween night, searching for a new head to replace his flaming pumpkin head. The only way to escape the headless horseman is to cross the bridge over the brook," Brom said. "That's where his power ends." Ichabod nodded fearfully, thinking that if he ever ran into the headless horseman, he would remember what Brom had said and ride straight for the bridge. Soon the party was over. Ichabod said good night to everyone and climbed onto his horse. While Ichabod rode toward the hollow, the sky seemed to grow darker and darker as clouds covered the moon and stars. A cold breeze blew through the air. It sent a chill through the schoolmaster. It made the trees groan above him. As Ichabod rode further into the murky hollow, he began to feel very frightened. The forest seemed to close in behind him, and Ichabod began to remember Brom's story, word for word. Tonight is Halloween, the schoolmaster thought. The headless horseman could be close by. Ichabod covered his eyes, but he couldn't get rid of the image of the headless horseman that lurked in his mind. All around him, strange voices seemed to whisper Ichabod's name, telling him to beware. Ichabod would have turned and run away, but this was the only way home. The wind howled through the trees, bending their branches like long arms that reached for the schoolmaster. Suddenly a bough above him broke. The limb crashed down, falling straight toward Ichabod. Ichabod screamed and his horse leapt forward. Branches clawed at the schoolmaster's face. He batted them away, but then he plunged into a huge spider web. Ichabod tried to clear the web away, but it covered his eyes. He couldn't see. When Ichabod finally managed to see clearly again, he got back on his horse, but all the schoolmaster could hear was the hollow clop, clop of horses' hooves as he rode through the woods. As Ichabod looked around, he noticed that they seemed to be riding very slowly, in fact. The trees didn't seem to be getting any further away. That's when Ichabod realized that he wasn't moving at all. So he tried pushing the horse, then he tried pulling the horse, but the horse wouldn't budge. But where was that sound coming from? Could it be the headless horseman? The sound was getting louder now, and Ichabod grew more frightened with each echoing clop. Ichabod looked around and discovered that the sound was coming from some cattails that were knocking against a hollow log by his side. Ichabod was so relieved that he started to laugh. Just then, someone else laughed too. It was the headless horseman. He was real after all. The headless horseman rode toward Ichabod, a gleaming sword in his hand. The schoolmaster climbed back onto his horse and grabbed the reins. He had to get away as fast as he could. But at the foot of the bridge, Ichabod's horse slipped in a mud puddle and spun around. Now Ichabod was facing the headless horseman. He could see down the horseman's collar, and there was nothing inside at all. The horseman lunged at Ichabod, who screamed and turned toward the bridge. He was almost at the other side when the headless horseman reared his horse and threw his pumpkin head at the schoolmaster. The pumpkin was lit with a fire from within, and Ichabod cried out as it came toward him. The next morning, Ichabod's hat was found beside a shattered pumpkin, but Ichabod was nowhere to be found. Some people said that he had run away and married a rich widow in a distant country. But of course, the people of Sleepy Hollow always believed that the schoolmaster had been taken by the headless horseman. The end.